Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Two for the Show. Today, we're going to be covering the first episode of the second season of Last of Us on HBO. We're both big fans of the show, also of the games, too. Well, at least the first game. Just kind of want to talk about it. It's great to see the show come back and just be so excellent already. And
yeah, I was excited and also nervous. The second video game has a lot of baggage for me. Because like you were saying, I mean, we're both huge fans of the first game. I remember when it first came out, like took over my life and just amazed, of how good that game was and the story. Like I kind of have a reputation of not finishing video games. But if I do, I really have to like it. And I finished that game and I was like crying by the end of it. So yeah, I'm super excited for the show to be back, but I'm also interested in seeing like how they deal with some of the most, let's just say controversial stuff for this story, because I think it's kind of an impending flop. I think people, casual viewers at least, are going to turn on the show. And I think a lot of people like us who are fans of the video games are watching it out of morbid curiosity. And I could be wrong about that, but we'll have to see. But I think this was a first great episode at the very least. I mean, you can see the budget behind it. You can see the effort. All the actors are just like amazing, especially the people that are returning from the last season. My one gripe, just starting at the beginning, we open with the Firefly funeral where we see the new character Abby and her group mourning the people that spoilers. I want to say that actually I almost forgot. If you haven't played the second video game, or if you haven't played the first video game, obviously huge spoilers. So
or watch this episode too.
Yeah, that too. So turn away now if you're not wanting to get The Last of Us spoiled for you. But you start with the Firefly funeral where we see Abby mourning the people that Joel killed at the end of the first season. And we get to see Abby in action for the first time. And that was my first immediate gripe, was like, she is not who I expected for them to cast as Abby. She's very scrawny and just does not have she just isn't the same character to me.
It's not as big of a gripe for me that she's like not swole. Honestly, it might make her a little bit more relatable for me, but she is actually scrawnier than she should be, in my opinion, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect her to be the Abby of the video game, but like she's also like kind of a twig, and I was like, that is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. And she might surprise us, because there was a lot of controversy for Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie. She still looks very young. So she has to carry this show at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
But she pulled it off so well in the first season. I have faith in her.
Yeah.
So even though Abby's not really the appearance that I was expecting, she might surprise us and actually end up playing a really good character. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it's too early to judge, but it did catch me off guard. I was like, that's Abby? Oh.
Yeah, Bella Ramsey, I think, does a good job in kind of encapsulating the spirit of Ellie, though. Like, I don't think she really looks like it, but I don't really think like Pedro Pascal. Like, I honestly think Pedro Pascal kind of alters the essence of Joel a little bit, and not in a bad way.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like Bella Ramsey feels like Ellie to me. Like if I close my eyes, like that's still Ellie. Like Pedro Pascal is definitely not Joel or Troy Baker's take on Joel. But I still love him. Like anything with Pedro Pascal, I love. But
yeah, me too. And that's actually a good transition in the next part. So we go from the funeral to Joel in therapy, which it's a new thing, right? That wasn't in the second video game. This is a new thing for the story.
Yes.
Okay.
With Gale.
And that's something that I do actually respect about this show, is like some of the stuff that they add, which is not in the video game, actually ends up working for me. I can't think of anything specific from the first season. I think it kind of adds more. It kind of rounds out the story, or kind of gives his character more depth in the way that he is showing or choosing to reflect on his decision in the last season. The video game, we don't get a lot of that, but in adding this kind of thing where he's like actually going for help. He goes for help, but he still is leaving out what he actually did, is kind of a cool addition to his character, I thought. And Pedro Pascal does such a good job and as Joel too. Like he's an excellent actor. So I really actually ended up liking that scene.
Yeah, I love that scene, especially like in that conversation that they're talking about. Like you can tell he's in pain and like he knows that he did something to hurt her, but then he stands up and he has the like his justification for it. He's like, I saved her, and then walks out kind of thing. Like I love that. Like I think Pedro Pascal did amazing with that scene. Catherine O'Hara was great too. I thought the whole scene was great, like a great addition. That was
for sure. And I didn't actually know who Eugene was, and I looked it up, and I still really didn't get any clarification on it. So maybe it's going to be something they clarify.
He is in the game.
The rest of the season. He is in the game. Oh, okay.
Well, he's talked about in the game. He's not actually in the game. He's also dead in the game. But spoilers again. But the part where Ellie and Dina end up in that like kind of underground pot farm. That's Eugene's pot farm.
Okay. So that makes sense why Joel is paying her in weed.
Yeah. She's like,
that's funny.
He could grow a kilo in winter and it would be huge and moist and wonderful and sticky, but you're bringing me high school stuff. Like,
yeah. That was funny. Yeah. Okay. That actually, that's a good clarification. I actually think that people watching this will be like, oh, you know what I mean? Because I did not recognize that name. And like I said, even after Googling, didn't really have much clarification. So after that scene, the therapy scene, we move on to rejoin Tommy and Ellie, I guess, surveying the area around the city. And she takes out a couple of zombies, or what are they called in this game? Clickers, right?
Clickers and infected, I think.
Infected. Yeah, so it cuts to them taking out a few infected, and we get to, see Tommy again in action. And the actor that plays Tommy, I think he's also very good.
Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel Luna, yeah. The second video game there's a lot of character assassination that happens in the second video game. Tommy was definitely one of them for me. So just again, kind of curious to see how they handle a lot of the decisions that he makes throughout the season. But we rejoin them and we get to see kind of Ellie leaning into the quirkiness of Ellie by yelling out that she's immune and whatnot.
Which I love, like kind of how you're saying that they're spending more time with Joel so far. Like I like that they're adding more stuff. That was actually kind of one of my complaints about the first season, is I felt like they stuck a little too close to the game, like to where they were like doing everything word for word as the game.
Just thinking back to the first season, the episode with I'm not going to remember the characters' names, but the guy from Bill from Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah, Nick Offerman, yeah.
Yeah. That episode was really good. That episode actually got me hooked on the show, and actually got me and my wife into the show too. I was like, you have to watch this. I was like, it was so good. And she watched it and like actually ended up watching with me. And this is not a show that my wife would normally be interested in, but it was so good that it made her want to watch it. So high hopes that they are able to pull that off again. Because again, this story is so controversial that they need that, I feel like, to keep people watching it.
And I was actually excited for like the original Bill, like the video game Bill. Like when they got there, like I was like, oh, it's gonna be a good episode. But then it was completely different, and I loved it like even more. Like it was so touching. Like, yeah, one of the best episodes of television ever. Like it's great.
I could agree with that. Yeah, the fact that it was one about a gay relationship, two, actors playing these characters and making you feel for them in an hour. And then like just the chemistry, like, God, yeah, so good. So
it's kind of like going back to like the first season where they kind of added that like radio talk show thing. I really love that scene where they're talking about the cordyceps and how they infect ants and how they survive, and or it's talking about like if the Earth temperature started to rise by even just a couple of degrees, it would have to evolve to live in higher temperatures and that kind of thing, and then potentially would be able to work with humans. Saying global warming is the cause of those cordyceps like being able to spread to humans. It wasn't a part of the video game, but was like kind of a cool addition to the show.
Definitely looking forward to more of that kind of extra stuff that they add to the story. And I feel like, you know, obviously like the therapy scene is like just maybe 5 minutes of this episode, but it had that kind of feel where it was an addition to a character that actually ended up rounding him out even more and making it feel like, making me feel more optimistic for what else they have in store.
Yeah. I feel like in the game, he seemed a little bit more calm about it. Like they didn't spend enough time with him to where you could tell he was struggling with it, with the choice he made. And I feel like with this one, like it's really making him more. It feels like he's more like a character and less like a memory kind of thing.
So we go from this scene of Ellie and Tommy, and we meet Dina, who is being portrayed by Isabella Merced. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's actually in a lot more stuff than we had realized. We were looking at IMDb before we started recording this episode, and I was like, oh, wow, she's Dora. Actually, you said she's Dora. We were like, oh, cool. And she's also an Alien Romulus, so she gets 10 points for me. But yeah, she's excellent in this season so far. I really like her portrayal of Dina. I don't remember her being very exceptional in like the video game, but I like her a lot so far.
I think Dina was really good in the video game. Dina's great in the show. I think she's awesome, and so I'm very excited to see, especially her and Ellie's relationship kind of bloom more. And also very frightened for that too.
There's like this timid thing that I have for this show. I'm like, oh god.
Honestly, I felt kind of nauseous this whole episode because I didn't know. Like it's like looking at a loaded shotgun that's like on a timer. It's like, is it gonna blow now? Is it gonna?
Still to come, man, and it's impending, and it's, you know, because we'll have to see, but yeah, you know, we cut to the first scene with Dina, or actually this isn't the first scene, but this is what I remember being kind of the next focal point of the show, was Ellie and Dina out on patrol with their team, and they're going around as recon to check out the area around the city to see if there's anything changing, if there's anything to report back to people. And they find a bear who has been attacked by some infected, and they go on their own into this building to, I guess, kill infected. I guess that was their goal, which was interesting. Seemed kind of reckless and whatever, but so they're inside this building, and we get to see some action with Ellie and Dina attacking a couple of clickers, and Ellie falls through the floor onto the first floor. And this scene was pretty interesting, and I have a feeling this is probably what you were going to talk about.
Ellie gets into a game of cat and mouse with this one zombie infected. She almost has like this little crown effect, which I thought was really cool. But
she's got like the kind of like feelers almost, and she's got the fungus coming out of the hole in her nose.
Yeah. And,
crazy.
And then they get in she lures her out into the open and attacks her with like kind of a stealth attack, and Ellie ends up getting bitten again, which I don't think happens in the game. Like, I don't think she ever gets bitten at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost. I was thinking about it in a way of like, maybe hopefully it taught her a lesson of like, I can't be as reckless. Like this could have been Dina who got bitten. I just happened to be immune. Maybe that's the kind of reason why they added that. But yeah, I've heard that character, or that thing called a stalker. Other people have called it a stalker, and that's pretty much what it did. Yeah, it stalked her and kind of lured her out into the open, and was more intelligent than the clickers who just kind of walk around and, can't see and make those crazy sounds. That this one was a little more calculated. Yeah, I actually liked this scene. I thought it was super creepy how like it would kind of show Ellie in the foreground, and you could see the stalker like crawling around behind her. Like, it's been so long that I've played the video game, I don't really remember it very well. But this building, I was like, wow, it took me back to the video game. And I don't know if it had that effect on you, but like when she looked at the Employee of the Month sign, I was like, I think that's like literally in the video game, because I remember looking and seeing a dog on an Employee of the Month sign. So that was really cool.
I didn't notice the sign, but as soon as she dropped down into that like kind of like mini marketplace. I was like, oh yeah.
But yeah, so after Ellie gets bit, we see her back in her garage where she's living, and she is cutting herself or the wound to make it look to disguise the bite, because remember, nobody knows that she's infected, or excuse me, nobody knows that she's immune. My wife actually asked about that. She was like, so what is she doing? And I'm like, well, she's trying to hide her bite so that way people don't know that she's bitten. And she's like, well, why would she do that? It's because nobody knows she's immune. And I'm like, well, I guess maybe the way that I see it is that if people know that she's immune or know that she has actually been bitten, they're probably going to throw her out of the city and things like that. So it's kind of like, at least that's what I assume.
Just like how she like used the chemicals to like burn the one on her forearm kind of thing, like, and tattooed over it for good measure. But
anyways, after she gets that over with and she's corrected her bite, we see her and Dina talking to a council. So like a council of people being led by Tommy and his wife Maria, I think is her name. So, you know, making them aware that there's like other types of infected, or maybe the infected are becoming more intelligent. After this council scene, we move on to, I would say, a pretty faithful, almost shot for shot kind of remake of a cutscene from the video game where the town is having like a party, and Ellie and Dina getting a little touchy-feely and eventually kissing. And you know, there's somebody who is not cool with that at the party and calls them out for it. And Joel tries to step in, and Ellie tells him that she doesn't need his help anymore. And, you know, we get to see that wedge that has been driven between them kind of in full effect. You know, we get to see that she really does not appreciate Joel looking out for her. She's pretty much done with him.
The next scene where like she goes home, and then Joel's sitting on the porch with his guitar, and then they like go separate ways. That's the part I wanted to talk about, because in the game they don't go separate ways. One thing I'll say first before I go into it is I'm really glad that they're doing all of this in the beginning kind of thing. As one of the complaints I had is that like a lot of this was like given in like sprinkles and flashbacks throughout the game. Like that whole scene with Dina doesn't happen until like way later in the game, and like especially that scene where in the game she goes and has a long conversation with Joel. It kind of confirms that like her and Joel were okay before the Big Bang. But that scene there is at the very, very end of the game, and it's just like it was enough to like make me cry. I was like, oh. But
yeah, okay, I forgot that was like at the end of the game.
Like that's like literally like right before the credits, I think, in the game. And and now that they've changed that, I hope that they don't get rid of that scene kind of thing, because if they the Big Bang happens and they aren't okay with each other, like it's gonna be even worse kind of thing.
Things are being rearranged in a way that drives the narrative for the casual viewer, because by them, what you said is like, I forgot about all that, but that scene is really great, and I agree with you. I hope they don't get rid of it. What I'm assuming probably happens is they're going to show that scene again of him playing the guitar, and instead of Ellie walking off, she like stops and then comes back maybe. And then like it's like an additional part of that scene that is showed to kind of show that Ellie and Joel were actually okay the whole time, and that explains why Ellie is so heated about this incident that happens later on. That was probably one of the biggest complaints that a lot of people had about the video game for The Last of Us 2 Part 2, is like how the story was like cutting here and there, and like the timeline was all jacked up. And this one they can't do that because it's a show that people who haven't played the video games are going to watch. I can't tell you how excited I am to talk to my mom and my uncle after the big boom.
Yeah.
Because they loved the first season. I was like, you have to watch it. You're going to love it. they watched it. They're like, "Oh my god, it's so good! I can't wait to see what happens. I love Joel. I love Ellie." And my mom like really liked Joel, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be like the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones all over again."
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great comparison, because like, and I will give this to the game, like never have I ever been more on board to like go on a tale of revenge than I did with The Last of Us 2.
It's funny because like I said, I don't remember the story of the second video game very well. It's been probably, I think I replayed like half of it in 2021 because I was sick with COVID, and I was like, I'm going to play The Last of Us 2 because I was quarantining in my room because Kelly was pregnant. Actually, my wife was pregnant. So it was 2023, Christmas of January 2023 that I replayed it. And it was kind of cool to revisit that game because like you're saying, the gameplay is so good. It's kind of addicting, but the story gets to a point where I was like, all right, like I just can't, I'm not interested in it anymore. The gameplay kind of gets a little bit repetitive and boring. And I know that the story, I know what happens at the end of it. I'm not interested in reliving that. So kind of revisiting the story in this way for the show has me a little excited, but I'm also tentatively approaching it as like, I just hope that they maybe give us a different perspective on some things, maybe change up some characters so that it's not so disjointed and like rage baity.
Going full spoilers, so this will be spoilers for probably the whole season kind of thing, but there's a point in the game where you become Abby, but essentially like you play for like 6 months as like Ellie, and like you go through and you watch her go down her toil, it's like her Breaking Bad moment kind of thing where she loses all of her innocence, and then like it flips over to like it all leads up into a big fight between her and Abby, and then like right as it gets to the conclusion of that fight, it flips and then goes back 6 months, and you do the same 6 months, but now you're playing from Abby's perspective. And I kind of felt like Jim Carrey, where he's like, every time I play Sonic, I just throw him into the spikes for fun. Like that's how I felt with Abby. I was like, oh, there's a horde of zombies. Let's just walk her right in.
I literally remember, like, it was yesterday, like I played it an hour ago. I remember the second that it switched to Abby, playing as Abby, and I was like, oh no. I was like, it's a cutscene, right?
It's
going to take an hour, right? Nope. You play her for a good majority of the game, if not a majority of the game.
And all the good set pieces go to her too. It's like
everything good goes to her.
Mm-hmm.
Everything good goes to Abby for the second game. Abby is good. Abby is the new protagonist. Ellie is bad. Ellie is vengeful. She's mean. She kills dogs. She does all this kind of stuff. She's spiteful. Yeah, it's like total character assassination. And, on that point, actually, it's the fact that Bella Ramsey is playing Ellie. Like, I can't see her doing some of the stuff that Ellie does in the second video game.
I mean,
it's just, I don't think it's going to be, I'm not going to buy it. I just don't see her being able to pull off that kind of, that edge that they give her.
To be fair, I didn't see video game Ellie doing that either, kind of thing. And so like, yeah, it'll be something for her to buy. And I do trust in her acting ability. She hasn't given me anything to not see that in, or like not, but like, yeah, it is going to be. And I think that's a couple of things, like with the added scenes, like her and Tommy in the beginning of the episode, where she's acting very much like a kid, like, I'm immune, and then she's like has that huge fight scene with that dude that's like
with that giant guy,
and like she's like, yeah, I'll beat you up, and like I think that they're doing that a little bit on purpose to like kind of make the contrast even bigger when it gets there, kind of thing.
So, yeah, I guess the main sticking point for me is like, at least, you know, when you start playing the second video game, Ellie is way older, so she looks like a different person.
Yeah.
In this, I mean, Bella Ramsey still looks like she's 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so her having her turning into the character that Ellie does throughout the second video game, I just don't know if it's going to work. And that's coming from somebody who knows what's going to happen. Somebody who's just watching the show as a casual viewer and doesn't know what Ellie turns into is going to be like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Unless Bella Ramsey can pull it off. And if she does, you know, it'll be a very good acting class, I think. Yeah. And we went on off a long tangent, but at the end of this episode, we see that the cordyceps, or the fungus, is traveling through the pipes underneath the town. And the first season, if everybody remembers, it's kind of told, or kind of revealed, that the fungus is able to sense when people are walking around it, and it can transfer that information back to like a horde. So it's kind of teased that there's going to be a massive horde or some clickers or whatever moving towards the town and eventually probably attacking it. So we get that little teaser at the end there to kind of end this episode. So I really liked this episode. I thought it was a great start to the season. I am cautiously optimistic. I like what they added. I love the acting. Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, the character that's playing, the actress that's playing Abby, the actress that's playing Dina, Tommy, they are all killing it. It was a great episode as far as acting goes. And I'm really excited to see if they can maybe add some more flair, some more flavor to this story to make it not as brutal and maybe a little more fresh and exciting. But I would give this episode a thumbs up, and I am on board for the rest of the season. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Definitely agree with that. I'm very, very hopeful. I'm liking what I see. And I'm not going to say cautiously hopeful, but I think I'm just hopeful at this point. Like, even if it, I don't know, maybe I am a little bit cautious, but yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up too. And stick with us. Subscribe if you want to see us do reviews for the next episodes, and follow us on social media. Hit the bell so you never miss an episode, if that even actually does anything. And tell us what you think in the comments. Give us a like if you liked the episode.
Just thanks for checking us out. We have a full review of the Minecraft movie and season 3 of Invincible if you haven't watched those yet, and those will be linked somewhere around my ugly mug. So yeah, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.